I have the great privilege of representing the residents of Scarborough Rouge Park, which is home to our beautiful zoo and also home to the wonderful Onley family. And so it is fitting that today we are having some inclement weather as we recognize the wonderful David Onley, and of course it's a shame that we didn't have him to tell us the weather here this morning, but we will be thinking of him as the rain starts to come down. And he was a wonderful champion for accessibility and also a resident of our community right here. And I will say that I often saw him at Tim Hortons, and him, despite being what I thought was incredibly famous, never had a big entourage, and he was always kind, and he was always friendly, and he was always welcoming. And so we miss him dearly in the community, and I'm so very appreciative of all the work that he has done in the area of accessibility. And we all know how important accessibility is. It touches all of us in some way with those in our lives. When you become a parent, you quickly realize the struggles of getting a stroller around and how important accessible spaces are. And many have people in their family with struggles. And as my mother has been going through MS and moving up through the different realms of mobility advice, I've come to appreciate how very, very important the work of David Onley was to really champion accessibility here in our province.
This marks the 50th anniversary of your Toronto Zoo, and for many of you, you might even remember opening day. A few in the crowd. That's half a century of connecting people to the natural world, connecting them to the animals in our care, and trying to build the profile that challenges our Earth faces. So milestone moments like this are important. They're a chance for us to reflect on where we've been, and also a chance to recalibrate and think about where we're heading next. What are the next 50 years going to look like? And while none of us can say for sure, we all know that it starts with community. It starts with being a place that brings people together. For us, that means some much needed and long overdue upgrades to our site. And this boardwalk, I think it's a pretty beautiful example of the work we're trying to do here. It reflects our commitment to being fully accessible. It reflects our commitment to being a zoo for all. And you'll notice there's lots of construction going on. And while it might be a little bit inconvenient today, it's important as we march towards 2025, as we look to fulfill and exceed the expectations of the Ontarians with Disabilities Act, and make sure it's an enjoyable experience for everyone.
These amazing apes. Unfortunately though, today, all 3 species of orangutans are listed as critically endangered due to the development of palm oil plantations. If you didn't know, palm oil is used in everything from packaged bread to lipstick, so please ensure that when you are buying products, please ensure that you are buying products that use sustainably sourced palm oil to help save these beautiful species. We are now coming up on our Maasai giraffes. We have Kiko, Mastari, Amani, and Matimani, and it looks like Kiko is out right now. Let's all say hi to Kiko. Mastari actually just recently gave birth to a lovely baby boy in this February. His name is Matimani. I believe he is in the far right corner. You can see him over there, along with his mother and his sister. A cool thing about giraffes is that they have a 15-month-long gestation period compared to the 9-month-long gestation of humans.
A few years ago, I was actually at a conference in Cleveland, and it was interesting because they were talking about accessibility, and they framed it in a way I'd never heard before. They said, in your life, there's not much question, you'll have a point where you won't be able to operate the way you're used to. And we should all consider ourselves temporarily abled. And that was a pretty profound way of looking at things. And it's something that we're proud to embrace, as we want to be a place where, regardless of where you're at on your journey, you'll feel like you belong and can have a great day. So we're just incredibly honored and proud today to dedicate this boardwalk to the life and legacy of David C. Onley, Ontario's 28th Lieutenant Governor, by naming this the David C. Onley Trail. So why did we call it a trail and not a boardwalk? It's quite simple. David was known as a trailblazer. He was a grandfather, a father, a husband, an advocate, a role model, a community champion, somebody we wanted to recognize, reflect, and his legacy to carry on. He was a trailblazer as a student at University of Toronto Scarborough, where he started the first campus radio station, and later in life joined UTSC as a senior lecturer, teaching the history of the Vice-Regal Office and the politics of disability. He was a trailblazer in 1984, when he became Canada's first on-air reporter with a visible disability. And, of course, he became a trailblazer in 2007 when he was appointed the 28th Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, serving as the Queen's representative until 2014. Again, the first individual with a visible disability in that role. He had a truly remarkable life, and we're so grateful to have you here today to honor him. So we hope this very small gesture of naming this beautiful trail will serve as a constant reminder of his many important contributions and the impact he had on so many people. An impact that will continue here for years to come.
On May 2nd, 1998, our family moved very close to this location. As a matter of fact, whenever we gave directions, we always mentioned, just take the Toronto Zoo exit off the 401 to get to our house. So for 26 years, the Toronto Zoo has been a part of our lives with many family visits. I have very special memories when my little boys were tiny, and David, he would be using his scooter here. And I see this picture of David scooting about with Robert standing on the platform between David's legs and holding on to the handlebars for all his life, while Jonathan, the eldest, stood behind the seat holding on to David's shoulders. And all of them hooting and hollering as they raced toward probably the Lion Pavilion. And like a tired old caboose, I was many steps behind, probably closer to the Hippo Pavilion, trudging along with my little baby in his baby stroller, Michael. And maybe, just maybe, I was feeling a little bit jealous of the triumphant scooter trio zooming ahead of me, leaving a trail of dust behind. I think you get the picture. Physical accessibility was crucial for our family to enjoy life together. And we've heard so many things already. I'm just going to be repeating them. David devoted his life to promoting accessibility. And of course, he defined it, and we've heard it many times, as that which enables people to achieve their full potential, like going to the zoo, while believing that at any point in life, we could all of us encounter physical accessibility challenges through, as been mentioned, a sudden diagnosis, an accident, or just plain old aging. Accessibility is good for disabled people, as David always said, but it's good for all people. Those needing canes and crutches, scooters, pushing baby buggies, using wheelchairs, walkers, and those pulling wagons. Everyone benefits by good accessibility. It's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? Living with the effects of polio, David knew all too well the challenges, and he championed disability issues all his life. His faith, optimism, and terrific sense of humor made him a trailblazer with a can-do attitude. He was both an inspiring role model and he himself an ardent supporter. And he was always enthused by innovative work or technology that was done in our country to advance true inclusion and belonging. And we know that this year marks the 50th birthday of the Toronto Zoo. Yes, and I was around when it opened. And we applaud the innovative leadership taken in accessibility on these grounds of this world-class destination. In a recent newspaper article, your CEO, Dolph Young, said this, and I like this quote. Dolph. It's just incredible to see how the site has evolved physically as our approach to care and guest experience, that's you guys, has grown and matured. Care, indeed, when we look at this beautiful trail. On behalf of the entire Onley family, we are thrilled today to see David's life and legacy honored in such a meaningful way. I would like to thank the Toronto Zoo for transforming a very, very steep old asphalt hill into a new, beautiful, safe, and accessible walkway. Welcome, everyone, and enjoy the David C. Onley Trail. Thank you.
Just in case.
Ready, guys?
Okay, on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Pull hard. There you go. There you go. There you go. Don't have to pull too hard. You're good.
Just gotta swing around.
You did it.
Like that.
Now pull it on. There. There's a newborn here. Aww. Can we get a photo with the family?
Yeah.
Jen?
Pick me up, pick me up, pick me up.
So today we're just so honored to be recognizing David Onley, the 28th Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, with the naming of the David Onley Trail. David Onley was recognized as a trailblazer for people of different levels of ability, and his family were longtime zoo members. He was a frequent visitor, somebody I frequently would see on TV, and we would have so much respect for him. We learned so much from him, so to be able to name this trail in honor of him is amazing, and we look forward to people recognizing his contributions here at your Toronto Zoo for years to come.
And we're here today to honor David C. Onley, the trail that's being named after him. And he's a longtime family friend. And then we both served Ontario when he was our Lieutenant Governor and I was an elected official. And he was always a champion for accessibility. He believed that everyone should be able to reach their full potential without experiencing unnecessary barriers. He's such an inspiration to me to this day, as is his family. And this is a wonderful honor to him and his legacy and the work he has done for Ontario. But he's really inspired people beyond Ontario, throughout Canada and the world. I'm just honored to be here and help acknowledge what a wonderful, wonderful man he was. Thank you.
I'm not going to stuff it in your face, Mark.
The Science Center has helped so many young people decide to have a career in teaching or in science or technology or the media. A number of the people that have worked here have gone on to all sorts of different positions in those areas. What I'm also impressed with, of course, is that it's 40 years old, but this is a very, very accessible facility. So kids that have been in wheelchairs or walkers or the elderly have always been able to get around here. And so it works on a couple of different levels. It's an accessible place both for the body and for the mind.
Okay.
here today to honor David Onley with the opening of this beautiful boardwalk and trail behind us. He was a real champion for accessibility and, importantly, a resident of our community here in Scarborough Rouge Park. It wasn't uncommon to see him in the local Tim Hortons, to see him out and about in the community, and so it's just so wonderful that today we're honoring his amazing legacy of accessibility with this boardwalk.
I think David, the longer I'm living without him in my life, the more I see how much he not only impacted my life, but the lives of everyone who knew him. And so much has been said about David, but I think he was such a man of integrity, and he was a very gentle soul, and he loved people, and he did not like to see people suffering or people in need, and so he was a real advocate, and he was a trailblazer, and he was a warrior, and I think he lived his life right to the last breath, being a warrior, and so I'm very thankful for having 40 years with him, for having our family, our children, the legacy of his grandchildren, and it's such a special day today to be honoring him in this way.
Well, it's just a real honor to be here and to remember my father and just the living legacy that he leaves behind. A trailblazer here at the Toronto Zoo, in the city of Toronto and the great province of Ontario. And for myself, my wife Stephanie and I, and our entire family, it's just a great pleasure and honor to remember Dad. And now we get to see this incredible trail, the David C. Onley Trail, that will be here, and it will be here forever. And that's something that's just, you can't put into words, so it's just a wonderful opportunity to be here.